And so, Beth,
Yes.
everyone's been waiting for this. We're going to talk with bots. And Isabella, I'd love you to stay on.
Absolutely.
We're actually on time. How did this happen? 8:55.
I've got to. This is amazing. I did not know what was going to happen when I came on. This is sensational.
We were ready to be like, Isabella, can you wait 20 minutes? But we're actually about to start this section at the right time. We should be like on a TV show for sure. Okay,
I would do this full time. I'll sit and watch you build apps all day.
Thank you. Okay, so Beth, give us your best. I love this bot stuff, and you've made this look ridiculously easy when you showed it to me. So I'm excited for everyone to see this.
We're gonna build a bot for the Teams app, right? The moderator bot.
We want to be able to do the QQ and ask it a question.
QQ.
Let's do that. So I'm actually gonna follow what Nicola just showed for the Teams toolkit inside of Visual Studio Code. I'm gonna pretend that I've never heard of it and I'm just using it for the first time. No, I'm not. But so anyways, can you guys see my screen?
Yeah.
Cool. So I am inside of Visual Studio Code. To the left, you can see that I'm selected this Teams toolkit tab. And then what I'm going to do is start a new project to build this bot from scratch. I'm going to say moderator bot. And this is going to prompt me to add the folder into wherever I want it to be. I'm going to pick development, build. This is where I'm going to put it and choose this workplace. And then today we're only going to show you how to add a bot to this project. Apparently, as you can see, you can also add a tab or a messaging extension to your project as well. So I'm just going to select bot and create a new bot. This is a little small. Hold on. It says finish, I promise. So now, right here, I actually really love this experience because once that I selected that I wanted to create this project, it actually pre-populated all the files. That's essential. So to the left, you can see some of the basic files that you would need to build out this bot. Index is just where it would handle, some of the background node creating server type of things. Package.json include all your packages. And then bot activity handler is where we're going to write most of our bot code here. Similar to what Nicola showed you, there's also a folder that helps you publish this bot directly into Teams. Also, I second the whole motion towards that I wanted this to be able to sideload into Teams so badly so that it saves so much development time. So super looking forward to that. And then on the right side, here's all the getting started documentation that you would eventually need to how to set up your bot from, here to running. I've read this about 127 times, so I'm not going to go through it one more time. But you will see that I'm following these steps exactly as I'm building this out. So
I do think it's worth noting that documentation is going to be tailored based off of which capabilities you select. So if you had selected a tab, you'd get different documentation.
Yeah, that's awesome. So in my console here, I'm just going to cd into a moderator bot. What I'm going to do is just show you very quickly how this code works. This is the boilerplate code. What it does is when somebody is talking to the bot, it gets the context of this of the message that people were sending to the bot, and then it kind of switching cases in terms of based on the prompt that you gave the bot, what's going to talk to you back. So I'm just going to say, yo. And then to respond to this, I'm going to create a demo, async function. I'm passing the context right here. Break. And down below, you can see when hello was sent in, it's going to prompt you, or it's going to reply you with hi with your name. And I'm going to do something similar here with my demo async.
So the whole notion of the bot framework is the turn aspect of being able to have a conversation back and forth, right? So there's turns as part of those conversations, which is something that grabbed me as a confusing construct at first, but once you get used to it, it's kind of pretty straightforward.
Right, exactly. Or if you don't want it to, there's a lot of ways to build your bot, right? Like you can add natural language processing to determine based on people's tone and the words that it goes into it. But that's a lot more sophisticated than what we wanted to achieve here today. So we're just gonna do a simple reply, real quick, and be when somebody says hi to my bot, or it says you to my bot, I'm just reply you.
It's very creative of you, though.
I know, I try.
Yo.
What do you want to respond?
I can't think.
So, right here, I've added the function that's going to respond to some keywords that's prompt right here. And then the next thing that you would want to do is pull up the terminal to host this on some sort of HTTPS endpoint so that your application will be able to find it. So what I'm going to do is go back to my Teams configuration right here. And then I'm actually going to pull up App Studio. Sorry, Isabella, going away from the toolkit.
Both are valid. We want.
So if you remember when I was looking at the .publish folder, there is the development zip. And this kind of gives you all the information that you needed to create the Teams app that you wanted to be in the store. So I pulled this out from the hidden folder so that I can find it from the browser. That's all I wanted to do. So coming back here, I'm going to import an existing app, go to my development folder, finding this, and then uploading the zip. One thing that was worth noticing that I kind of find out from doing this was when you're using App Studio, because bot registration requires AAD registration, you want a Azure subscription actually ties to this profile so that you can smoothly change all the information that you needed in the config file. So what we're gonna do is peel open this package and look at everything that's here. This is gonna complain to me later, so I'm just gonna change it to my name temporarily. I'm also gonna give it a relatively valid URL and also add it here.
Foo.com, the most famous developer website.
I think it is. Call it moderator bot. Another thing is this short name. If you're using Azure to register your bot channel, the short name should be the same as the display name inside of the Azure portal. So setting up your bot right here, you can set the scopes very easily instead of going into manifest file and comparing that to the schema. So I'm just going to check personal and teams. You can also have other options with different versions of the schemas as well. So I'm saying demo bot.
Could you zoom in your screen, by the way?
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, I think it's too small. Yeah, perfect.
Can you see it now?
Yeah, it's perfect.
Cool.
I guess I'm just too blind.
I always forget about this. Thanks for reminding me. So if you guys see any questions in the chat window to show any of the details, just let me know. So now it's going to provision this bot for me right here inside of App Studio. Takes a couple minutes. This is an important step where in the background your bot is actually registered with the AD tenant. So it's giving you the AD app ID. You're going to want to copy this, go back to your code, and then in the environment file here at the bot ID right inside of this file, and then I'm gonna go back to here and then generate the new password for this AD app. This also only shows up once, so remember to copy it.
People will steal it now because you showed it to them.
That's okay. I'm just gonna delete this right away. So that my Azure spending is not $1,000 after today. Super simple. And what that environment file in the background does is, I think this project by default is actually using, here it is, .env. So it's mimicking like the process.environment or variables in your app settings or in your like Linux or Windows environment when you're exporting your process variables. So here's also interesting. So you're gonna want to add your bot endpoint wherever you're going to host it eventually. I'm going to host it later on moderator-bot ngrog.io /
Yeah, an extra O. So it should be ngrog.
Oh, cool. Thanks. This is what ngrog. Deleted the wrong O, didn't I?
And I do think you might be getting some questions just about, when can we combine this experience. We are working on bringing bot creation experience into the extension.
Nice.
That's awesome.
They did.
Or make that so much easier.
That didn't come out with the ship yesterday, right? It's going to be a build soon.
It'll be post. Yeah, it'll be after this first version.
So
It's the same code base, right, Isabella? Like the studio, app studio in the Teams client
Yeah,
and the extension.
yeah, and that's been really important to us is having common experience. So like the manifest editing experience, the validation experience, we want to make sure that we maintain parity between all of these tools, because we know that some of you are you're already comfortable using one. We don't want to make that be a sea change. So we're trying to reuse code as much as possible so you have that common experience.
for sure. Another thing that I realized after using App Studio about 3 times is you have to click out of it for it to remember this. And then you can add your own custom commands for the bot to prompt user to learn. I'm not going to add anything here just for the simplicity of it. You can also add connectors, messaging extensions, like I said before. And that was about it. Now I'm going to go to right here. There is remove this localhost. This is asking me what are the domains that I want my bot to redirect to. I don't think there's anything interesting here for now. So in this view, if you actually have some validation errors, it'll show up right here in this area. It looks like we're all good, so I'm just going to go ahead and download it. It says it's in my download folder. Going back to the App Store, trying to upload it to Contoso, which does everything. Go to download.
So people are asking, there was a sound effect for a disconnected device. I'm like looking around my machine like, please, like my microphone's still working, my camera's still working, what's happened? I don't know what just disconnected my machine, but it's still working. And everyone can
It
hear
could have
so I
been
think it's
me
theirs.
when I just suddenly disappeared.
Yeah, my machine's got some gremlins at the moment, so.
Looks like I didn't download it. I'm gonna do this again. Oh, it's blocked in the browser. Cool. So now I'm gonna go back to where I was in the App Studio. Try to upload this. Go to download folder. Here's the bot that I just created. It's a little spinner. We'll see if this works in one settings. So I'm gonna add this to a team.
So what's the story with this, Isabella, in terms of where you can deploy a bot? Like, is there a way to deploy it like to everyone in the organization? Like this moderator bot might make sense in that global context. Can you do that?
So, and that's actually that staging API that we were talking about earlier. Mm-hmm. Even if you're not an IT admin, normally only IT admins can deploy apps, like can deploy a custom app for their whole organization. I think, Beth, you might have an admin role here, which is why you could upload for Contoso.
She's got God mode on our tenant.
So when
I know people who knows
you can
people.
upload an app for the whole organization. It means that everyone else can view it in the store. If you're just a normal user or a normal developer, you usually have to go through this really complicated process to talk to your IT admin and get them to enable it. So you'll be able to, from those extensions, say publish it to my organization store, and then your IT admin will get that app and they'll be able to make it available in the store. And then that admin has different controls. Different policies, some for saying these are the users who can access this app and these are the users who can't, but also controls to pre-install and pre-pin specific apps for users. So using that install functionality, IT admins could install apps that have personal scope directly for users, and there are also a set of graph APIs for pre-installing apps as well. So absolutely, we're trying to make it easier for enterprise developers to work with their IT admins to make sure that the users and organizations can have ready access to these different applications.
That's really neat.
Now, while you guys were talking, I actually secretly did my npm install, but I would like people to know anyways. Now I'm going to go back to start the project. But actually, I just realized that they put notebot in here, so you can start it by watching the changes in your file. That's cool. I like it. So I'm going to do npm watch. So this is going to start the server on the port. Let's see.
Doesn't look like it ran.
No, it didn't. I'm just gonna do start.
That's what you get for trying something new live.
I know,
live
right?
on stage.
I was like, no, Mom, it's so cool. I love it.
Like, it's too hard not to resist the shiny, right? Like, ooh, let's try it.
Nope, didn't work.
The very first time I was demoing our extensions way back when we were first trying it out, I remember someone saying, wouldn't it be cool if you could hit F5 and it would launch into the client? And I was like, I know we're working on it, but I don't know if this version of it has. So I tried to hit F5 and run, and everything froze. I mean, just whole machine crashed in the middle of this customer demo.
Awesome.
All right, no more new things. Nobody asked me to try new things. Anyways, so I just started the server. And if you remember, when I was putting in the URL for HTTPS, I said that I was going to host it locally with my ngrok, and here's the domain, moderator-bot. So I'm just going to start it real quick so that it runs smoothly. Now if I go back to where I added the bot, here the bot is already mentioned, and I say the prompt word that we just added to it, yo, right?
Yeah, it was yo.
It wasn't yo-yo.
And someone suggested the response should be a GIF.
Oh, look at that. You wanted it to be a GIF? Do you have a GIF link, like a URL handy?
Maybe somebody in the comments can send us a link to a GIF, and then we can add it to the...
Let's do it to prove that we're real time.
Yeah, try something new again.
While you guys are doing that, I'm going to show you what's happening behind the scenes with this. Actually, GitHub. So we're in the Microsoft Graph org, right?
Yep.
And then meeting moderator. If you don't remember how to find it, that's how you find it. I'm going to switch to my bot sample. So when you saw earlier in the demo, when we were actually in the moderator app, where if I prompt the bot and say, oh, it's gone now.
Sorry.
No, it's fine.
It's a different branch.
No, it's fine. So remember when you're in the Teams, when you prompt it with a quick question or question queue, that your question actually gets added to the queue. Here is how it works. Behind the scenes, what we do is we deploy the bot into the cloud. That has a couple channels that connects to it. You can the channel that we're using is the Teams channel, but you can also have web channels and all this other things. If you're looking at the bot channel registration on Azure, there's so many other options. And the next step after bot is it connects to a Azure Cosmos DB collection, where this collection's ID is determined both in your bot code and in your moderator code, so we will know which collection to go fetch the correct information, hence the questions to show up in your view as your breakout view are created by the moderator app. And then these collections has a couple triggers that goes into Azure Functions that listens to the upsert events into the collection. So every time something gets created or updated, these Azure Function runs behind the scenes that binds an output to an Azure Signal service, which broadcasts all these signals out to its clients. So a moderator app was one of the clients that's actually subscribed to the Azure Signal R hub. You can also broadcast to other places and have mobile apps and gaming apps listening to it all together if you want to. And then in the moderator app, if you remember, if I click the button to say answer this question, then it updates the collection. Of course, that you can handle all these backend code to talk to your database some other ways, so you don't worry about the course configurations and stuff, but that's up to you. We're just trying to show you the simplest way of setting this up. That was the whole flow of how the bot code works. You can follow this documentation if you want to set up your own environment. There's quite a few steps. Me being a true dev, I didn't write ARM template to deploy this for you, but you can.
We accept PRs.
Who needs that 20% work that takes 80% of the time, right?
It works on Beth's machine.
So if I'm actually going back to the meeting moderator sample and just
I thought you'd wrapped up, Beth. Okay, go. I'll go back.
Oh, sorry. One more minute.
Yeah, don't take the minute away from her.
How dare you? In the bot's code, if you look at how we're handling this, or if you're interested in how we're handling this, up top, similar. to prompt questions. Here is the prompt question that I wanted to show in Teams, and then in queue. Here is the function that actually handles in-queuing my question into the DB. And I also have a function in handling how to dequeue the DB. If I go back here, and go to our breakout and just say, moderator, here's the bot. What's the next question? This is going to prompt me the next question that's actually in the queue if you're a known moderator. So this was one of the questions that was still in the queue, and it tells me that I have 2 more questions in the queue.
That's really cool.
That was all
really
the
cool,
bots.
That's very cool.
I'm done.
On time, Beth. I'm impressed. How do we do this? Well, look, Isabella, thank you so much for joining and adding all the context on this. It's really good to have you on this. And Beth, that was great. Thank you so much for doing that bot stuff. We have yet another guest, so we will say goodbye to Isabella.
Bye. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.